Dr. and Mrs. Cohen, Michelle, from the bottom of my heart, you have my heartfelt thank you and sincerest respects for the sacrifices that you have endured. May I ask everyone to please take a seat? If you ever allow a Marine colonel to have a microphone, it's going to be a while. And let alone a politician, it could be here for, I think we could be here. Michael would probably want me to do this for at least an hour or two. What do you think? Doc, man, a few words, but he told me to say hello, so that's the issue. I would like to, and I hope the family will indulge me as we do this, but I think it's important for everyone to know the brotherhood and the sisterhood we have in the United States Marine Corps, and the brotherhood and the sisterhood that we have in the military. And if I might, I'd like to share a little bit what would have happened to your family in the latter part of November when you were notified. May I do that? Okay. And again, please accept my heartfelt condolences on your loss. When there's a casualty that occurs, a casualty officer gets notified, and I've done that. And we're asked to notify the family of the loss of their loved one, their brother, their son, their daughter, and you never know what to expect. And I'll relate an experience of what happened with me. It was in November in the late 1990s, and I received a phone call to do a casualty notification. And you put your dress blue uniform on, and you go to and by the way, if I have trouble getting through this, please accept my apologies. Because we become part of your family that day, and I would like to be part of your family. And I know Senator Kristen Phillips-Hill feels that way as well. She's a dear friend and someone who cares deeply about all of those who served and their families. But we become united that day. And my Sergeant Major and I, he was a first sergeant at the time, we were told that the Marine who passed away had no children. So we were driving there. We were thinking about what we were going to do. We were in our dress blue uniform. There's a tremendous amount of anxiety on our part when we're getting ready to go. And as we do it, we knew some of the facts about the Marine. He was due to come home shortly. It was around Thanksgiving time, same period of time. And we got to the house and we saw that there were toys outside. And my Sergeant Major and I looked at each other and said, this isn't going to go well. It's called a record of emergency data. It wasn't up to date. He was married, we knew that, but we didn't know his children. We got to the door and we knocked on the door, and a little boy, about 3 or 4 years old, saw me and started screaming, "Mommy, Mommy, Daddy's home." I went, oh God. About that time, the mom came around the corner, saw me and my Sergeant Major in dress blue uniform, knew what the issue was, and then we became united as one in the family. The Marines who saw you that day are forever honored to be part of your family for the sacrifice that you endured. But I'd now like to tell you a different story, if I may, because shortly after Michael passed away, I was called active duty and sent to Iraq. And I want you to know what your son did and the sacrifice that your family suffered, but what you did for 28 million people. On January 30th, 2005, the Iraqi people, for the first time in their lives, were able to vote freely. Because of what happened in the Battle of Fallujah, and it was horrible. It tested the mettle and the soul and the character and the strength of every single person there. Your son is a hero, and you are as well, for the sacrifice that you made for so many people of our nation and theirs. On that day, I was one of the few service members permitted to be at a polling place. And if you remember, anyone who voted dipped their fingers in a purple dye. And the insurgents who had been fighting at Fallujah, that your son defended us against, prevented them from attacking those people who were going to vote. They had the intent of killing anyone who voted. I saw 80-year-old women standing on the side of the road after they voted, proudly holding their hand high because of what your son did and endured. General Naqshbandi and Dr. Samir came to me, and he was in tears because we had 2 casualties the day before. They were 2 killed in action on the 29th. And he came to us and he said, in absolute tears, for the first time in my life, my mom was able to cast a vote the way she wanted to vote. Please tell every family member of those who died. And so I'm telling you, from what I was told on January 30th, 2005, for the sacrifice your son made on November 22nd, 2004, on behalf of the American people and the Iraqi people, that they had the opportunity for the first time to live as free people because of the life and the dedication and the sacrifice of your son and all of those Marines who served with him. No one can ever repay you for the sacrifice. But I guarantee you, your son is following in the Marine Corps tradition today, and he's in heaven. He's guarding heaven's gates. And from what I've heard of him, he's probably telling a few jokes. But he's organizing it, I'm fairly certain. So I will tell you on behalf of General Naqshbandi, who was in tears, a hardened Iraqi general, Dr. Samir, who's a minister of intelligence and the minister of the interior for Iraq, that the Iraqi people knew that because of the sacrifice that happened at the Battle of Fallujah, they were able to vote and live freely. Those same people today, and you may not always see it in what you're seeing in the news, as we hear from them, are eternally grateful. And I would tell you, this bridge is a mere reflection, and an incredibly important one, that I hope that we never forget the willingness of Corporal Michael Cohen to lay down his life so that others could live a better life. He willingly sacrificed himself in one of the most horrific battles imaginable in order that people could be free. And I would tell you, on behalf of all of us in the House of Representatives, Senator Kristen Phillips-Hill, and myself as a retired United States Marine, I'm forever proud of your brother, your son, and all I would say is God bless you all and Semper Fi.